Explosive clashes erupted on Talk TV as hosts Mike Graham and Emma Wolfe launched a blistering takedown of Chancellor Rachel Reeves' economic policies. The duo systematically dismantled her horse-racing tax hike and catastrophic unemployment figures, exposing shocking mathematical errors that forced parliamentary corrections. As tensions peaked, footage of Britain's migrant crisis exploded on screen. Hotel protests, police confrontations, and dinghies flooding our shores. Reeves desperately deflected, while the hosts grilled her over £2.5 billion wasted on hotels as borders collapsed. Then came the hammer blow, leaked council emails revealing Labour's plan to force migrants into town centres amidst skyrocketing shoplifting. The final revelation of Reeves' deleted CV lies left the studio in stunned silence. Watch the clip, but before that, did you know that over 95% of our viewers aren't subscribed? We get it, life's busy, but subscribing is free and helps us keep making the content you love. Hit that button. It takes a second and means the world to us. Thank you for your support.
Things are going from bad to worse in this country. It now says there's going to be a horse racing strike as well, because Rachel Reeves is, of course, trying to put a tax on horse racing. So next month, they're going to go on strike. All meetings axed for a day in protest at Rachel Reeves.
Yeah, she wants to increase that tax from 15% to 21%, which I think is the same as the online casino slots kind of thing.
Which is a massive error.
Which is a big error. And, you know, it's one of the kind of pleasures that people still have left in this world.
Right.
Apparently it's going to cost the industry, that single day is going to cost the industry, I think, £700,000.
Yeah.
They're sort of striking at Lingfield and places like that. It's a sort of big day for four of the kind of major meets. Yeah, I mean, you know, let's just attack everyone. They're so desperate for money. And as you say, it's because the Chancellor is economically illiterate.
Exactly.
She seems to go after the small targets and sort of completely ignore the big things that she needs to do. Plus, you know, look at pubs closing, look at all the other stupid decisions, idiotic, illiterate decisions that she's been making, which have actually ended up costing more.
Yeah, and every time you read anything, particularly at the weekends when they have a bit more time to get into things in depth, I mean, they're looking at literally anything they could, anything that moves, tax it. If we're not taxing it already, you know, let's put some more tax on it. If we are taxing it, let's change the tax and put the tax
well,
up.
except if it's foreign, then give it loads of money. If it's foreign and it moves, give it loads of money. But also this thing about it, it's a bit similar to allotments. You know, these small things that make people's lives worth living.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, I know. Angela Rayner says, let's cover them all over with concrete, except in her own constituency where she's campaigning for allotments.
I know.
It's a kind of nasty, vindictive, but also incompetent, hypocritical.
And very hypocritical. Well, let's look at what she's been forced to apologise for and correct, right? That she has to correct a parliamentary record after bungling her figures when discussing unemployment and her flagship pension reforms. This is the Chancellor of the Exchequer, right? This is the most important job in finance in Britain, right? And she couldn't get it right. The Treasury has corrected Hansard, the official record of what MPs and peers say in Parliament, after errors by the Chancellor during several sessions. In one instance, Ms Reeves claimed that excuse me, the £425 billion local government pension scheme was managed by 96 different administering authorities, a figure she hoped to cut to 8 pools. It turns out that was the wrong number. There are actually 86 administering authorities with plans to take it down to 6 pools. So she doesn't even know her own policy. In a separate session, she told peers that Britain had 20% of people of working age who are economically inactive, and we have an unemployment rate of just over 4%. It turns out that was wrong. It's 4.7%, and the economically inactive number is 21%.
She should know that stuff.
So she should.
She really should.
If you're going to give specific figures, the specific figures have to be right.
It's all prepared for her. It should be right there in front of her.
Yeah.
But I mean, don't we know this? Don't we know that she wasn't even able to tell the truth on her own CV?
Over in Epping,
Britannia,
there was another
Bell Hotel,
the Bell Hotel in, and I think this week there's quite a big important case going before, because the local council have taken out an injunction against the Home Office, and they want them to shut it down. That could go in their favour, in which case, you know, the government got a real problem. But let's have a look at what was going on at the Britannia Hotel. This was in Canary Wharf, of course, over the weekend. Again, they sent loads of police down, and at one point you can see them all kind of running towards the hotel to get between the demonstrators. There we go, between the demonstrators, and somebody pointed out on social media, you know, the Britannia Hotel's got better protection than the UK border. you know,
Yeah.
because it's harder to get into the Britannia Hotel than it is to get in here.
Yeah.
And once again, they were making kind of a fool of themselves, the police, moving people. There's a woman on a mobility scooter at one point being spoken to. They're trying to move her on. They're trying to move everybody out of the way. And at one point, they said they'd issued I think it was a Section 34. Or a Section 40 or some kind of dispersal order anyway. And the crowd were just sitting on the ground chanting, you can stick your Section 40 up your, what's it, you know. And
we're not far right, but we're not far wrong. I was talking to Susan Hall, the lovely...
Yes, have we got a clip of that? Were you down there?
Yeah. No, and she said she was going down there to support the Pink Ladies.
Yeah.
That's what people are there for.
That's exactly right.
And then there are the police barrelling in there, you know.
Yeah.
And who are they protecting? Migrants in the hotel.
Yeah, who are laughing at everybody out the window and taking pictures of them. I think we've got Susan Hall. Have a look.
Women all over the country are not feeling safe, and we need to let the government know there's a great swell of feeling out there where people do not want to be living next to people who we don't know who they are. They don't want to be walking the streets and having to have their husbands with them because they feel too frightened to walk along. And it's about time that people like me, this is my first demonstration ever, it's about time people like me get out on the streets and say to the government, do something about this, because it's now very, very serious.
It is now very, very serious. And out in Epping, at the Bell Hotel protest, Robert Jenrick turned up.
Yeah.
I think Kemi Badenoch was there as well. She was there last week too. Funnily enough, the local Tory councillors aren't showing solidarity with the protesters. But everybody around the country is now seeing something like this in their particular area.
Yeah.
In Havant, there's a piece in the Sun this morning where asylum seekers should be housed in town centres, according to senior Labour councillors. Migrants must be near shops, schools, GP surgeries and transport to integrate faster and combat racist rhetoric. They still haven't learned, have they, these Labour councillors? They're basically pushing this narrative that, you know, the migrants are all nice and the horrible locals are nasty, ghastly, you know, vile white supremacists. It's unbelievable.
Put them in town centres and watch the shoplifting rate go up. And I have friends in Norwich who've said that the shoplifting around the centre of Norwich, even in things like charity shops, is becoming, you know, really, really off-putting to normal people just going about their business.
Well, that's because, I mean, if you're going shopping, what you don't want is somebody in front of you just stealing everything.
Absolutely outrageous.
Right? And there's a story it's last Friday, all of that kicked off in Alaska after we'd finished this particular show. So we'll catch up with a bit of Trump and Putin. We'll talk some more about what's going on with the migrant war that's going on in this country as well. The Tories are not happy about it. This is Morning Glory. Back with Emma Wolf after this. Welcome back to Morning Glory. It's 19 minutes past 6.
Yeah, so she was an ex-director, asylum aid, and she represented migrants for free on behalf of the Bail for Immigration Detainees charity.
Just incredible, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, Robert Jenrick, Shadow Justice Secretary, of course, said her apparent conflict of interest undermines confidence in the courts. This is the latest example of an immigration judge with open borders views.
And even the government had to admit the decision was overturned after government lawyers claimed that her judgment was made against the weight of evidence.
Right.
I mean, and she's not the only judge actually who is involved in this kind of asylum stuff.
Many of them are. There's clearly an agenda going on, isn't there? There's
and
no
they are
question.
making decisions on who and who is not staying in the country, and who is not deported.
Yes.
This is why I think we have such. By the way, Mike, can we just mark it's totally separate? Well, it's not separate at all. It's in the 13 days since that ridiculous farce that we talked about, the returns agreement. Do you
the
remember
one in, one out.
Yeah, one in, one out.
Don't
Do you know
make me
how
laugh.
many people have gone? Zero.
None.
Over 2,500 migrants have crossed since the returns agreement came into force.
Of course they have.
So that was a total farce.
So 2,000 plus people in, none out.
2.5.
At the Bell Hotel, they were doing it where Robert Jenrick turned up and Kemi Badenoch turned up as well. The police, of course, being manned and really over enthusiastic about trying to stop these people from demonstrating outside these hotels, where frankly there are things going on which we can only worry about. Here's some pictures of police running. Somebody pointed out to me at the weekend the Britannia Hotel in Canary Wharf is better protected than the UK borders, and that is absolutely and utterly true. Daily Express has got an interesting one. Britain's 10 million junk food addicts. Apparently there are 10 million people in this country addicted to junk food.
Have been returned. Where have they gone?
None.
Let's see the proof.
Yeah.
Who's been returned?
Well, I think Shabana Mahmood was asked the question a couple of days ago, can you please show us some video of people being returned? Because at the end of the day, that's all we need to see.
Yeah.
And she couldn't do it. She said, oh, I'm not sure. I don't know.
Or even the paperwork. Just show us the official
No, they're
paperwork.
very good. They showed us that ridiculous video in slow motion of people.
Yeah, but I don't
walking.
want video. I don't want the footage of the guy holding his blue plastic bag walking somewhere.
Right.
I'm saying there must be official paperwork saying you've left, you've gone, you're on a docket, you're on a flight.
No,
well,
because they haven't sent them
Because they haven't sent anyone. That's what I'm saying.
But I'll take a video of somebody being put on a flight.
But they're not going anywhere.
No, of course, because there aren't.
It's all made up. It's
nothing.
probably Starmer's friends.
Let's go back to the protest, and here's Susan Hall, the former leader of the Conservative Assembly members down in City Hall.
Women all over the country are not feeling safe, and we need to let the government know there's a great swell of feeling out there where people do not want to be living next to people who we don't know who they are. They don't want to be walking the streets and having to have their husbands with them because they feel too frightened to walk along. And it's about time that people like me, this is my first demonstration ever, it's about time people like me get out on the streets and say to the government, do something about this, because it's now very, very serious.
It is now very, very serious, and when somebody as serious as Susan Hall says it, you'd think. I mean, Sadiq Khan has spent an entire career ignoring her, so now Keir Starmer's ignoring her.
And being extremely rude
and
to
really
her.
rude, yeah.
Really, really
and now
offensive.
Keir Starmer's ignoring her.
He is. But when you look at someone like Susan Hall, an intelligent, kind, compassionate person, and all these women, ladies in pink, grandmothers, mothers, daughters.
Totally.
These are not, you can't brand these people far-right racists. It's just ridiculous. They're talking about their lives and their communities and how they're feeling when people are transplanted into their communities, into local hotels, and are out and about in their businesses, in their,
and also other footage that we've seen at the weekend shows what's going on inside the hotels, where people like citizen journalists will sneak in, and what you'll see is all of this, sort of new furniture coming in, new beds being brought in, new bedding. They are literally being treated like kings, these people. They come into a new hotel, £400 a night in the Britannia, in Canary Wharf, and they're being given very comfortable beds, very comfortable rooms, very comfortable situations, and then they're given food, they're given a car that they can spend money on. And it's great, isn't it?
And they're telling people back home, I'm afraid they're telling people back home, look, this is what we get. Look at this. You take photos, like when you go on holiday, you take photos, send them to your friends. They're WhatsApping their friends and saying, look at this. It is, Britain is now becoming a very, very welcoming place to enter illegally, to come and live here.
I know. Let's talk about two-tier Keir in another way, because The Sun have got a great piece today by Jack Elsom, who we'll talk to later on, his Sun political editor.